Are y'all sleeping already today? Nobody's on yet. Oh, I have one faithful friend who has joined. A few more. All right. All right, y'all. Hello. Facebook, what's going on this evening? Hey, good evening, Charlene. Good evening, cousin. Good evening, Kate. What's up, Russell? Dia. Jamie, how you doing? So, I am, Aya, Hey, Terrence, Muhammad, Anthony, Jeanette, a bunch of folks. Good. I think we've got enough folks on to have a good conversation. I wanted to inform all of the NBA finals. Yeah, so I won't try to stay on and talk for a while tonight. But if you know folks, hit them up. Share this feed. Let them know that it'll be real quick tonight. Want to talk about this really, really important project that's happening. And I want to make sure that all of my friends and supporters and followers and all the folks who are in my network are aware of the Tulsa real estate funds. It's a really, really important opportunity that we all need to be really, really aware of. We've been talking so much about what's happening in the movement and the stress and strain that we all feel, and sort of just trying to understand, like, where do we go from here? What are some of the things that we can do as a movement, as a people to really push this movement forward. And I think we all know, as has always been, but especially right now, that the need for us to be economically sound and stable, for us to start focusing more on how we can impact change, utilizing the $1.3 trillion of spending power that we have. $1.3 trillion of spending power. $1.3 trillion of spending power we have at our disposal, and we want to be able to utilize it at this moment, so that when we see things like the Starbucks issue and Waffle House that we are certainly boycotting right now, not eating in any Waffle Houses across this country. Please do not accidentally end up in a Waffle House. Don't do I needed something to eat. There was really nothing else around. We're not going in Waffle House because our sister Shakishia Clemens was disrespected. She was assaulted. She was sexually assaulted in the Waffle House, and we are not patronizing that business. They have not stood up for our sister. They have, in fact, doubled down by saying that what the police officers did in that situation was acceptable, and she has criminal charges that have been filed against her. And so we look at these movements and we say, what do we do? How do we approach this when we know that right now we have a president who is, I'd like to say, not just out of his mind, but also just very dangerous, and purposely dangerous. Like, this is somebody who is very calculated and strategically causing havoc and trying to double down on what oppression looks like for Black and brown people in this country. And very, very dangerous in terms of his behavior, but he is not alone. We know that the Attorney General of the United States of America right now, Jeff Sessions, is another very dangerous person. who's a racist, who has a track record in Alabama as being someone who has always upheld racist policies and racist behavior as an elected official. And then we also know that we have many in our state legislatures across this country that we cannot trust, people who are not in any way here to uplift and empower communities of color. And so when we understand that we don't necessarily have the political leverage, we have to use other models. We have to use other things to be able to really empower our communities. And with that being said, not long ago, well, maybe about 2 years ago, there was a meeting that happened in Harlem following the non-indictment. I think it was actually following the murder of, oh man, I forget which victim. One of our brothers and sisters was killed. And Alton Sterling. It was Alton Sterling. And there was a meeting that happened in Harlem where we started talking about what we can do and how we can impact this issue of police brutality, the criminal justice system, mass incarceration. One of the big things that came up was that we needed to focus on our spending power, focus on this $1.3 trillion in spending power. And with that being said, the Tulsa real estate fund was developed, sort of came out of that as one of, I lost you guys for a minute. When the phone rings, we go out. So just, back quickly, we out of the meeting came this conversation around our economic power and what do we actually do? How do we begin to pool our resources to buy back our communities? And as I was saying, we saw with the Starbucks issue, when people were upset with Starbucks, as we still should be very cautiously, aware of what happened in Starbucks, where our two brothers were arrested just for being black in one of their stores. We started seeing people say we need to make sure that we patronize our own businesses, go to our own coffee houses, and, go in and just make sure that we're spending our money with our people and empowering our communities. So it's not just about protest. Protest is important to bring about attention and awareness on issues. But there is another conversation, and that conversation is around what it looks like to to take your resources in a capitalist society and use them to say, we're not even going to fight with you about how you treat us. We're just going to take our money and put it where we are wanted, put it where we're respected, put it where we're treated as if we are humans. Because I believe that there is a real scary attitude that black people are not even human. We know that, that is actually a thing. Like, really, in our Constitution, we still are not fully deemed as being human. In this Constitution right now, today in 2018, there are still clauses in our Constitution that do not identify us as being full human beings. And we are treated that way based upon some of what we've seen happening. So we came up with, thank you, Mr. John, who says he's white, but he also supports me. I appreciate that. And so we started to, in these conversations, talk about what we could do to uplift our communities from a financial perspective. And one of my brothers is going to come on and join me in a few moments. His name is Jay Morrison, and he is a young man who comes from humble beginnings, comes from the street, actually served time in prison. He's been through a lot, but he found a way to to begin to appreciate the black dollar and to appreciate what it looked like for him to be an entrepreneur who's also encouraging entrepreneurship for other people and for our young people. And Jay Morrison has quickly become, over the years now that we've worked together, he's become a very, very dear friend of mine, who I really look up to him as a wonderful model and role model and mentor around our spending power and black economics. He has built this model along with some other incredible people, including I see you, Jay. I'm gonna bring you in, including his wonderful fiance, Ernestine Johnson, and they are out and about moving around America, encouraging people to, utilize the Black dollar for the empowerment of our communities. And I want to bring Jay on, so we're going to try to bring him in and have him to talk to us about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which I will be investing in tomorrow. Hey, Winnie Wong. There we go. Jay
Hey,
Morrison, my
boss,
brother.
my sister, how are you?
I'm doing really, really well. I have just sort of given folks a real brief understanding of, just who you are and coming from humble beginnings. We know, your story of being someone who's formerly incarcerated. So people, when they
Hmm.
say, I can't, I don't have, how can I don't have any boots to pull myself up with. I know you are a brother who's saying, hey, let's figure out a manufacture our own boots. Let's make them ourselves. Let's
Right.
draw them. Let's design them. Let's find the material. Let's stitch them together. Do all that we can. But there's no excuse for us having a $1.3 trillion in spending power and only showing up on the streets to protest, but not taking our resources to build movements outside of movements outside of movements that really are about economic empowerment and the economic stability in our communities. And we've been talking about how important it is for us to protest and tied to our own communities, to
Correct.
tide and invest in our own people. And I was explaining to the folks who've joined us that 2 years ago, after the Alton Sterling matter where he was murdered by police, we sat down at a meeting and tried to figure out, what do we do? How do we go forward? Protesting is great. I'm a great protester as
Right.
far as I'm concerned. I'm like one of the best to ever
Does
do it.
that.
And we're going to continue to do that because
Facts.
it shines a light on the issues and brings awareness. But we were trying to figure out, what are some other steps. I was saying to folks that we don't have a president that we can rely on. We don't have a government that we can rely on, but we do have spending power. And in a capitalist society, that actually is power. And it's probably the most valuable power that we have at this moment, alongside our vote.
Absolutely.
And I'll be tomorrow, along with my son and many people from the Women's March team down in Sacramento, working on people turning out to vote. But tonight, you have something that you are announcing that I'll be investing in tomorrow, the Tulsa real estate fund. And I wanted you to
Mhm.
come on and explain to folks what you're doing, what this fund is about, and how they can get involved.
All right, and I appreciate that, and thank you for the warm words and the introduction. And hey, Tamika's friends, audience, what's up? It's my sisters. I'm your brother now. Um,
Yeah,
but when you were saying that, and even past Alan Sterling, when you and I kind of first met and linked up after Freddie Gray was murdered
right,
during the BET panel, and that's
right,
where this fund I'm about to talk about actually got into high gear. I'd already thought about the concept, but when someone in that BET panel crowd said, "We need to build a Black Wall Street, yo," is what he said
right,
from Baltimore.
right.
I was like, "Yo, y'all want to do that? Like, what's up? Now you talking my language. What's up, right?" And I really got to work, as you know, the last 2.5 years. Um, but when I was thinking about it, when we say it's such a shame, this 1.3 trillion, which I think Malcolm was talking about in 1965, was like 50 billion or so, whatever number that was that we had back then in spending power,
Mm,
and the spending power that
mm,
we haven't effectively harnessed. The fault isn't our social or political leaders, our activists, as they call them, right? It's not their fault, because those who particularly have that skill set, it's a skill, and that quality and that passion and that calling from God, are doing what they can do to the best of their capacity. It's really our Black business leaders that
mm,
have failed us. That's what I
mm.
realized when they said build a Black Wall Street. You know I fought you even when you were representing me as a publicist. I wanted to be on the social political side so bad. I'm a Black man
Yeah,
up for his community and Black,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and just a human being that loves decency and justice. And I want to fight the social and political fight so hard because that warrior spirit in me. But you kept saying, Jay, but you know the economic stuff. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Meek, I'll get to that later. That's easy. Right? I'm like, Meek, that's easy.
Let's hit these streets.
Right.
He was like, let's get in these streets.
I want to be in the streets, right? And the reality is that was being selfish of me. Because I have the gift and the talent, and I rose from that humble beginnings at 25 years old as a former high school dropout, 3-time felon with no college education, but who got into real estate and climbed his way into a millionaire, whatever you want to call it, or multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio, 2-time best-selling author, NBC Today Show real estate expert, hired by Sotheby's International Realty, mortgage branch manager, loan officer, all that, right? All these credentials.
The J. Morrison credentials.
Right, the J. Morrison Academy, the J. Morrison, right, all that, right? So I was able to do all that starting from the humble beginnings. I figured out business, and I figured out economics. I figured out what you called our economic appreciation, right, or that value. It'll be it's selfish of me or irresponsible of me not to create infrastructures and institutions that benefit us economically. If Tamika Mallory and others are working on our social infrastructure, political infrastructure, being the best of demonstrators and justice holders and all that, then I got to take the time out, even away from the other stuff I want to do, whether it's community related or not, to put intentional effort into building out the economic infrastructure that we need. Because guess what? We don't have one. Tonight, I'm launching an IPO, initial public offering, where everyone can buy shares and be owners of this massive fund that we own together, right? But prior to this IPO tonight, what infrastructure, financial infrastructure do we have that is owned by us, run by us, and for us? Where is it, and where has it been?
Right. We don't have one.
Literally, as a whole community, as a whole nation of people, as a whole village, we have no fund, no bank that is interested specifically in our advancement and run by us, and where everybody benefits from. And so I can't blame anyone else, and I'm not, of course, not boasting or anything. I'm saying it's my duty, it's my call, it's what I have to contribute to our movement if I know that stuff. Same as the cool classes where I teach the real estate and wealth education on the street corners in the hood, in my online school. Anything I can do economically to empower us, I got to do that. That's my job. And others who have this capacity or this knowledge base in the financial or business arena, it's our job as the talented 10th of business to go create business infrastructure and institutions that benefit our people.
Right. Because that is a part of movement.
That is.
So it's not that these are two separate things. This is where the movement intersects. It is our protests and our dollars coming together to make a statement about who we are and how we want our communities to be made whole. So it's not a separate deal. You know, some people think, well, if I'm a finance guy, or if I am, even a person who's you could be a dope spender too. Like, I'm all for that. I'm for you liking to purchase, sell, do your thing with your money, however you want to do it. They think, oh, I can't be in the movement.
Right.
Because that's not the same. Well, actually, we need people with the skill sets of, being someone who knows how to use money to grow, as you said, value, appreciation in our communities. Because I think that the more economically sound we are as a people, the more we're in a position to leverage that when we're having a discussion about our rights, about how we should be treated in society.
Right. And it gives us the power to own our own. Right. So it's like, I believe in, dual accountability. I believe the government is certainly accountable for our oppression and our, genocide and all that, right? And our non-repair and this moral neglect. I'm all about that. But we have an accountability to do for self regardless. And be self-determined. And it's cool to say that, and we know that, and to build Black Wall Streets and to buy back the block and all these cool slogans. But we need infrastructure to do it. That's what I realized. And I couldn't blame nobody else for not doing it if I haven't done it. And so what we did with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, just to elaborate for everyone.
And tell us what an IPO is again, because you ran through it quickly.
I'm doing a backup on that. I'll do a backup. So we're having our initial public offering. So we have a private company, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which has been qualified and approved by the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, which is the federal government's way of regulating funds, where there's full transparency. So with our fund, That's the first thing I want to say. Is full transparency, meaning our books, our audits, our operating agreement, our operating memorandum, our circular subscription agreement, like everything there, right? Everything you want to know about the fund,
So it's
how it works.
legit.
It's legit.
It's legit.
It's legit.
Okay.
It's regulated. It's third-party administrators, third-party
It's
auditors.
not in the back of the projects.
Nah.
In the, coming out the trunk of the car.
It ain't
this
that.
Is legit. We got paperwork.
We got paperwork, right? You can go to sec.gov, not even my own site. You can go to sec.gov, search Tulsa.
Right, not the J. Morrison SEC knockoff.
Yeah, not Wikipedia. I can change it whenever I want. No. Go to the government. Talk to them folks. sec.gov.
Right.
Search Tulsa Real Estate Fund in the Edgar search, and you'll see our qualification and our subscription agreement, etc. So in this fund, though, it ain't a J. Morrison fund. This is the community fund. It's my contribution to the community. That, look, y'all, in this fund, we're offering shares tonight, starting tonight at $50 per share. You can be an owner, a shareholder, a partner, an equity owner for as minimal as 10 shares or $500. So for $500, you will own a piece of this fund and the assets that this fund acquires and develops for the advancement of our community. You'll get a piece of the lease money, the rental money, the appreciation, the equity, right? The value adds of the property, all that will be a piece of yours in this diverse fund that's acquiring assets for the advancement of our community, or just tax liens, or condo conversions, or buyback the block, all those things, building a Black Wall Street. We actually have been looking at, Ernestine and I, looking at towns. There's several towns for sale in the United States, entire towns. We're looking at actually acquiring an entire town for the advancement of our community. But we all own it together, not me. We all got in. We all got shared. We all share in the risk. We all
Tell me about that, Jay. Tell me about that, because I see Erica Ford here saying I'm in. Someone named Yax Saleh says I'm in. Danielle says I'm in. I'm certainly in. I'll definitely be making my investment. Tell me what that means, that we all own it.
Good. So when we purchase these shares, right? There's 1 million shares we're offering to the public at $50 per share, which makes it a $50 million fund when they're realized. So now we all chip in. That's like 10,000 of us could put in $500. We got 50 million like that. Those who can afford it, it might be 1,000 of us put up $50,000. 50 million like that. Right? Wow. Or 10,000 of us put up $5,000. Or 1,000 put up $5,000. Right? So anyway, long story short, we have this fund that everyone owns shares in, and meaning you get an 8%. So the way our returns work is there's a 1-year lockup. After that 1 year, you get paid quarterly dividends. Your dividends get paid at 8% preferred return, meaning before we split any profits, the fund investors get an 8% preferred return off the top, right? The fund managers get a 5.5% management fee for managing the operation of the funds. All investors, including myself, I'm investing into my own fund, put my money where my mouth is. We all will get an 8% preferred return before any profits are split, and we split profits 50-50. So each investor will get their proration of that 50% of the profits plus their 8% preferred return, and we all own it together.
Who's going to be helping us to distribute these funds? Tell me what this administrative team looks like.
Oh, absolutely. So we got a host of professionals around us and vendors. So we have our fund treasurer, Mason Mallory. I'll say the treasurer first because he's the most important, because he's overseeing the money and
it's not, and Mason Mallory is not Tamika Mallory's known cousin.
No.
It could be,
actually,
but I don't know.
Right. He's from Harlem. He's a Howard University grad and a Columbia University grad.
Wow.
Sharp brother. He's our treasurer, overseeing our auditor, the third-party auditors, administrators, fund accountant, etc. We have an independent fund accountant and an independent third-party auditor to make sure we audit our fund every year. And there's transparency of books, right? As we want full transparency. Also, we have our president of our fund, Janetta Pay. So we have Queen. She's an attorney as well out of Chicago, who came down to Atlanta to support us in this endeavor. She grew up in a village in West Africa.
Wow.
Grinded her way up with her family. Now is a real estate attorney, but also the president of our fund. So she's our
right.
My Queen Ernestine Johnson is the chief communication officer of the fund and community liaison for those who want to connect with us and see about how we can do things in your community or ventures or whatever, or et cetera. Mashar Frierson, our CPO, chief productivity officer, and a host of other staff members, et cetera. But a brilliant attorney we have, Damali Peterson out of New York. And just a really strong squad. And actually another attorney, SEC attorney, Jillian, right? So it's 2 attorneys, a couple of accountants, et cetera. So a really thorough team. As I want to get this right the first time, as close as possible.
That's right.
And minimize mistakes. I'm actually overpaying for things. Just make sure that there's as little hiccups as possible. Because I really believe in this vision of the first apartment building we acquire or whatever it might be. It doesn't even matter what it is, a warehouse, whatever. But just to be able to say for that first time, yo, look what we did economically together for the since Marcus Garvey in 1919 when he offered shares to the public and bought the Black Star Line boats. It's the first time it's ever been done in our community as someone's actually giving shares to the public for us all to invest or be partners in something together.
Give us a quick rundown about the history of Tulsa.
Yeah, so we call it Tulsa Real Estate Fund because of that legendary and historic community of Greenwood, of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was burned down and bombed, literally bombed from the air by the Tulsa Sheriff's Department. It was literally 36 blocks of over 2,000 homes and businesses. I'll say it again, 36 square blocks of over 2,000 all Black-owned homes and businesses, including movie theaters, insurance companies. We had 2 to 6 airplanes, bus lines, hospitals, schools, all Black-owned, 36 blocks burned down in a day and a half in bomb. And Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wonder why someone would do that.
Right.
And the reality and the way I feel about it is if we only understood, it's the same thing like with our voting power. People are like, voting doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Well, if it didn't matter, people wouldn't work so hard to try to take it away from us. There's no reason why they would have bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, knowing that we were it was bustling with the possibility of Black excellence and greatness, not just possibility, but it was happening.
Right.
It was being put in practice there. And so for someone to want to destroy it means that they knew there was power and that model could be replicated all over the country and then ultimately all over the world. And so when we start, talking about this type of fund, you actually put your life in danger because there are people who understand that if we ever get on the same page about taking our resources, and the thing is, Erica Ford wrote here that we spend $500 on bags and shoes. I know that I do. I am certainly guilty, if you want to call it guilty, but I definitely have made those types of purchases.
Right.
And I feel like if I could spend that money, take my my $1,000, and maybe I'm still going to spend $500 on my shoes and bags, but I'm going to take $500 and invest in something that is relevant to how we build our communities. That's what being a sound, balanced individual, someone who understands that the turn up is all good. Do that and do empowerment, do looking for ways to make our dollars work for us and work for our children. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the other thing I want to say is there are people who I'm sure like, look at them. They on here trying to find a hustle so they can steal some money. I don't know. I don't trust them with that. That attitude, if that's how you feel, don't worry about it. We don't need you. Go and do something else. But know that, and I say to people all the time, these corporations that you're spending your money with that don't respect us, they steal your money too. When you go and you invest, you give your money to the Red Cross and, all these different organizations, they take your money and they don't always spend dime for dime the way in which you would expect it to be spent either. So why is it that when it comes to our people, we adopt this narrative that, you're going to steal our money. Your money is already being stolen. So you might as well just go ahead on and try. Just see what can happen if we actually come together.
Yeah. Let's get out our own way and test each other out. And that's why the fund is regulated, right? So I don't want no problem with the federal government, right? I don't have problems in my life. Like I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? Secondly, we have to also say, well, if you're gonna knock this fund, so say it ain't my fund, then what's our other option? Where are you going with the money then? You going to Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs? And what's your community? And so you put money in the bank, in your 401k, your pension, your 403b, you got your money sitting somewhere with some institution, and that institution gives you back somewhere between 2 and 3%, splitting no profits with you. But the institution that's created to give you 8% preferred return and 50% of the profits, and is about what you're about, an advancement of your people, that you find all you can find, you know, and we don't get that much criticism, but I'm just saying that's sometimes the mentality that we have when it's like these banks are taking your money, loaning it to other people, buying up real estate, buying up our communities, kicking us out, and they give you back 2-3%. But you don't scrutinize them.
Right.
The average person spends $2,600 a year on fast food. The average person spends $2,600 a year on fast food and other habits that we have that don't advance our people. It's like, so you may not trust me, and that's fine. I don't mind all of that because we don't got to trust everybody. But my point is, what other economic institution is there for the advancement of our people that you can have shares in and that can move us forward? Where else are you putting your dollars?
Right. That's right. That's right. There are not many options. And so I think this is something that, you know, people should try. I also feel like, you know, we have proven ourselves, you know, in this movement. We've been doing this work. We've been grinding. For me, it's been 20 years of my life that, you know, we've been in this work. And one thing, you know, you can say whatever you want about me, but one thing I've never heard anyone say is that I'm out here hustling up folks' money. I mean, they say it. Of course they say it. The haters say it. But, you know, in terms of people who I work with, that's never been something that, you know, I've been accused of. And, you know, I feel like if we're coming to you, you say that you believe in us and you trust us and you want us to be out here to fight for our children, then let's just try. Let's just try. Well, I've heard you say this many times. Let's just try what it looks like to put our faith in our own people, because we put it in Chase. We put it in Gucci. We put our trust in the club. We buy bottles. We do all of that. Put it in, you know, in folks who are saying, I'm not asking you to give your money to me. I'm asking you to put your money into this fund so that we can begin building generational wealth for our children. Tell us what it looks like for a person who okay, you donate 50. I know you said 8%, this and that, but if you're a person like me and you didn't really sit in class during school, you might miss it. So take me through what I could make, you know, in a good scenario. If I give you $500 right now in a year, what could I potentially be looking at as a return?
Okay, so for one, I want to tell everyone how you do that. So how you can register for your account is
Absolutely.
at TulsaRealEstateFund.com. So someone could type that in for us. Tulsa, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, TULA. TulsaRealEstateFund.com. You open your.
So interesting that my live was just cut. I hope you all come back and join me again. Come on back, family. Reshare this live. Yeah, Erica Ford, please share the live. Isn't it funny? They just cut my live off just now. Totally crazy. Isn't that interesting? The live just disappeared. Okay, Danielle, I'll check you out. So weird, Jamie. Share this live, y'all, so we can get our audience back. We were in a really important conversation, and all of a sudden my live just was cut. Really interesting. A number of folks are coming back. Let's make sure that Jay knows we're back on. Let's find Jay Morrison. So interesting. We want to bring Jay back. All right, Jay, here we go.
What a coincidence.
That was, isn't it crazy? What? My live just, that is so crazy. Like, I literally, it just went out.
Funny.
As we said, you know, they're on mine. They're on my everything.
Oh, I'm hot too.
Don't call me on the telephone saying anything that you don't want folks to know about, because my lines are tapped to dat. Okay.
I've been high.
So you were in the process, but I ain't doing nothing illegal.
Me neither.
Tulsa Real Estate Fund is above board, but I told you it's dangerous for people when they start hearing us talking about how to become economically sound. But we got our audience back. Folks have dialed back in. A lot of folks are
Yeah.
back here. You were talking about how to sign up, and then you were going to give us some more information on, what it looks like. How could a person benefit? Go ahead.
Absolutely. So just the how is at our website, tulsarealestatefund.com. Open your investor account tonight. Now, anybody that invests on June 1st, the first 24 hours, will be an honorary founder of the fund, meaning your name will be memorialized on our website, as well as during our first project, we're going to either inscribe the names into the bricks, or we're going to have a statue or monument or plaque made where everyone's
awesome.
will go who invests in the first day. So you'll be a historic founder in this fund. And from a return standpoint, so I said everyone gets an 8% preferred return, 50% of the profits. Mind you, for those who are just chiming in, this is the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. It's a SEC regulated, Regulation A Tier 2 real estate investment crowd fund. This fund allows us to offer 1 million shares of our company to the public for $50 per share. Minimum investment, 10 shares or $500. This fund was only made possible by our president, Barack Obama, in 2012, who passed the Jobs Act, which made it possible for the non-accredited investor to start investing in these funds. Prior to 2012, you could not invest and be a shareholder in funds like this if you were not an accredited investor, which means you didn't make over $250,000 a year, or you didn't have a net worth of $2 million or more. If you didn't have a net worth of $2 million or more, or made $250,000 a year, you couldn't even have this opportunity prior to the Jobs Act. So President Obama gave us this opportunity through the Trojan horse of the Jobs Act.
So you mean to tell me President Obama did do something?
Little did you know. But we didn't take advantage of it and exploit it.
Right. But we will now.
Now we will. And so in our fund, you'll be a shareholder, an owner, and a partner in the fund. We are the fund managers. I'm the fund fiduciary. I'm the fund manager, fund fiduciary, and the fund steward. So my name and my butt is on the line. So y'all could talk all that, maybe this. It's my butt that's on the line. I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? It's my daughters need a daddy. You know what I'm saying? London and Anna need a daddy around. So forget you and your little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't about that. And I'm not hurting for nothing. Ain't been hurting for nothing. So my point is.
That's right.
My point
you got to let them know. You got to talk to us the way we talk. Right.
just let you know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking for no favors here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just creating something for us to all own together, because no one has done it since 1919 with Marcus Garvey. That's why. Right, so you want to know why the fund. It's not to take advantage of anyone or just for a pure business model. It's because we need an economic infrastructure and institution in our community. We need at least one. We need several. We need dozens. We need hundreds. But let's start with one. Let's get one fund right. Let's get to work. So from an investment standpoint, I have to say, as a fund manager, that all investments are a risk. Right? That's absolutely true. All investments are risk. Funds can go bad, up, down, whatever. We don't make or split any profits till you make an 8% preferred return, which is a good thing, which is way above industry standard. Look at your banking account and check your ROIs, or your Merrill Lynch, or your mutual fund, your 401k, your IRA, et cetera. Look at your return on investment there. But say over a year period, I'll just give everyone a hypothetical of how the 8% and 50% profit looks. So right now, I manage 28 units of apartment buildings here in Atlanta, right, amongst other assets. But just particularly, I have apartment buildings, 214 units at Spielman and Morehouse on Parsons Road. Those 228 units yield us about a 31% to 33% cash-on-cash ROI, right? So return on investment, 33%, right? If that same ROI was given to our fund from an investment of ours, you would get the 8% preferred return first, right? You get your 8% first. That will leave 25% left over out of the 33% ROI. So you get your 8%. Out of that 25% that's left over, we will split that 50-50, 12.5 and 12.5 fund managers in the crowd. And so that's what so then you would add your 8% to your 12.5%, and now you're looking at 20.5% return on your money from a passive real estate investment, being an owner. That's a hypothetical scenario. I'm not saying that's a guarantee. I'm not saying that's
absolutely
right. I got to disclose all those things because those are the things they try to get you on. So,
but
my point is that I've been in real estate, y'all, for 12 years. We have over 100 plus years of collective experience of real estate investment and business investment on our team and our staff. I believe in being an expert at hiring experts. I don't try to do it all myself. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And I'm willing to hire who I need for what I don't know. I'm smart enough to know that. And in our fund, again, I look forward to the day where we can just be like, yo, Meek, like for that 1,000 you put up, 500, whoever, whatever, we own that. We own that warehouse right there. Like we all own that joint. We own that complex right there. You ride by with your kids for a $500 investment and be like, yo, we own that hotel. We own that. We own that farmland. So when we say, yo, my aunt got some acres in Mississippi, she got 60 acres, we can do some farming on it. Okay, let's do some farming on it then.
So let me ask you about that. How are we making decisions? And I'm saying we because we're owners. So how are we making decisions about where we're investing our money?
Right. So the fund managers will make the decisions, ultimate decision on where the fund invests because we are fiduciary and responsible. But what I look to do to make it more collective oriented is I get with you and the Mices of the world and the Dr. Boyces of the world and everyone else that we know who's out and about shaking and moving and meeting mayors and councilmen and in the streets and other real estate professionals that I already know and et cetera. And we just vet the best deals. And we do what's the best deals from a ROI perspective, also from a social good perspective. So you might be like, yo, me and the mayor of Baltimore like this, or me and the mayor of Keisha Lance Bottomville, we just connected on this, and she wants to do X, Y, Z, or the councilman wants to do this, or I know this community organization, New Era Detroit, who wants to buy 40 houses in Detroit, or whatever that is. We vet those situations, make sure they make good, sound business decisions and choices, and now we have the control to fund us however we want to fund us. So we can say, all right, you got a great project, Meek, so you seen something that touched your heart, like, Jay, this really touched my heart, like, da-da-da-da, these kids out here ain't got no place to stay, da-da-da, we want to do this right here. We vet the business model of it. It makes sense. It's like, all right, Meek, cool. We're going to create a special purpose entity, meaning another company. Tulsa's going to loan money to that company to execute this investment. We'll defer all the interest for the first year, you know what I mean, to make it easy on us. Do X, Y, Z, do the rehab, whatever the business model is, start paying back investments and dividends to the fund investors in the crowd, and we just did a project of social good and controlled our own dollars in our own neighborhood.
And you say it, so wonderfully. It sounds like music because you really know this. And that's what we need. We need to make sure that we have people, we have our own Bill Gates. We have our own people who know how to use money, how to build businesses and how to build these major projects. And, I certainly look at you as being one of those people. Let's answer some questions.
Sure thing.
My cousin, LaShandra Mallory says, is this a one-time investment of $500?
That's a great question. As much as you want to invest until we reach our $50 million maximum. So first day investors, June 1st, are honorary founders. After June 1st, you can invest still. You'll just be a shareholder, partner, not just, but you'll be a shareholder, partner, equity owner, right? After June 1st, but not a founder. But you can invest 1,000 tomorrow and, 1,000 later on in the year until we reach our $50 million max. Then we'll open a new fund. For the first fund, max at $50 million.
Next question is, do you take credit cards?
No, we don't take credit cards, just ACH, which is direct withdrawal from your account, wire or check. No credit cards.
Next is, if I invest more, will I get more? Or is there a set startup rate?
No, so the more you invest, the more shares you own. The more shares you own, meaning a larger percentage of the profits you get. And a larger return on your 8%, preferred return. Because
so what are the increments?
Whatever you want. You can do $575. You can do $500 or whatever you want to do. No, pardon me, I'm lying. $50 increments.
You're not lying. Don't say I'm lying.
Yeah, not. Well, I'm mistaken.
Yes.
I misspoke. My bad. It's $50 per share, so it is $50 increments for shares.
So $50 increments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minimum
so
550. Yep.
600 and on.
That's a great question.
And I can
put that on my
continue
FAQ.
to invest. So I can put it on layaway. I want to be at $5,000 in investments. And until we get to 50 million investments, I can keep on paying towards my $5,000.
Yes.
Via ACH, which is direct withdrawal from the account, a check, or
a wire.
A check or a wire.
A check or a wire have a $10 fee. If you do a check or wire, it's a $10 fee.
Wire has a $10 fee.
ACH is free. There is, now here's the thing, if you want to do multiple payments throughout the year, is each time you submit a payment, there is a $25.50 processing fee, which is for our bad actor check. That makes sure there's that's anti-money laundering check. That's a KYC, which is know your customer check. These are the things that protect the fund from anyone trying to infiltrate in the wrong way and mess the money up. So for each multiple investment, there is that processing fee. So, you know, you may want to aggregate it to save a little bit on that fee.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
So $25. So I did have another question about, we were just saying you can invest. I don't know. I lost that question. Hopefully it'll come back. Thanks. Someone says my makeup is on fleek. That's what I'm talking about. And my makeup, see, costs a lot of money to be buying all these different products, Fenty and MAC and whatever. So I'm going to take a little bit of change, get a little change, put a little change to the Tulsa real estate fund. Questions here. How can I get involved? Let's give people that information again, Jay. People want to know.
Yep. TulsaRealEstateFund.com. On social media, Tulsa Real Estate Fund, Facebook and Instagram, Tulsa Real Estate Fund. For those who want to do deep dive research, we encourage it. Again, full transparency. We love it. We encourage it. Go to sec.gov and search Tulsa Real Estate Fund. But you guys can register tonight. A free investors account, TulsaRealEstateFund.com. We go live at midnight. IPO. We're offering shares to the public. First 100% Black-owned, SEC-regulated, Regulation A Tier 2 crowdfund in the history of America. By the way.
Yeah. So, I was going to ask this is a funny question, but
sure,
I really do mean it. Can you drop off cash somewhere?
No.
Good.
It's a good question, though. No, you got to write a check.
Just got
wire that thing. Or ACH.
Or you and your mama can, put it in your mother's account and y'all go in together. But then you need an agreement with your mother, right?
Right, y'all figure that out. Correct.
You have to figure out with your mother and write something down on paper. Let me ask you, I know you're not a lawyer, but you know a lot of, good legalese. Can I just, my family get together, we put $5,000 together and wire it from my mom's account. Can we write down on a piece of paper, just a blank piece of paper, we invested, there were 6 of us, and each one of us in this house invested X amount of dollars, and we're all entitled to X amount on the return? Right. Will that paper stand up in court?
Well, a verbal contract is literally a contract, and a paper contract as well is a contract. Of course, I would advise everyone to see an attorney to draft the proper joint venture agreement, or you can invest as a company as well. So if you're an LLC or some kind of company, and you can put those terms in your company operating agreement of your LLC, you guys can invest as a company, organization, or institution. We also accept overseas or international investors. There's a higher processing fee depending on what country you're in. For international investors, we'll be doing to accept international investors. And you can, for minors, for your children, you can own shares and make your children the beneficiary of those shares. You want to put some shares to the side. Hey, look, I want my son to be a building owner from 8 years old. I'll put $500,000 for my son or daughter to be an equity owner, shareholder. You can make them the beneficiary of those shares as the fund, grows.
More questions. I know you also are supposed to be answering live questions on your own
Yeah, tonight we have a marathon tonight. So from 8 p.m., which is now, I'm late. I'm going late because I had to do this with you. So
but there's other people that could answer questions.
Yeah, my whole team.
There's a team.
Yeah, it's a whole organization.
It's not Jay's backyard deal. There's a team.
A whole company,
right?
A whole office.
All right.
A whole boardroom.
So I have some questions. My aunt Janice Mallory, who is very serious about things like this, so she probably will invest. She's asking some very specific questions that we want to try to answer. How will our money grow? Will we get updates often? I think you kind of talked about that, but if you could touch on it quickly, because she was saying before she couldn't get the information, and then they cut my live off. They cut my live off. She wants to know how will our money grow? Will we get updates often? That's an important thing. Will there be opportunities for town hall meetings, for online information, and obviously mailings about where our money is? And how does this affect our taxes?
Oh, great questions. So let's take the grow question first. So once we do our raise, our IPO, and as we receive capital, we've already been securing and working on deals throughout, you know, the country. A lot here focused in Atlanta because we have the most boots on the ground. But we will go into other markets and support other developers and investors in other cities as well, as long as they're vetted as quality investors that we can, you know, trust and put our name on. So we will grow it by deploying capital into real estate assets and diversifying it amongst things like tax lien sales. Like right here in Georgia, you can get 20% ROI just for buying tax liens, which is like people are behind on their taxes. Typically, as a community, we don't compete heavy on the courthouse steps, they call it, because we don't have enough capital to compete with the conglomerates and syndicates of other people who are there buying up these tax liens, because you're guaranteed a 20% ROI. Or if the person doesn't pay the 20% ROI, you keep the property. Right? So you might spend $3,500 or $7,000 for a tax lien, and they don't come pay that tax lien, you keep a $80,000 property. Or they pay off your 20% interest. So that's one way, a small way, specific way of diversifying. But we also have industrial properties. We have a development on Sweet Auburn here in Atlanta, whatever. So we're going to do sound real estate development acquisitions and deals based on our, again, experience, prowess, and just ability to generate revenue, right?
Before you talk about the updates, it's important because when you say we're going to do sound real estate deals, you need to let folks know that this is not something new for you. This is how you actually made your money. This is how you made your first $1 million, first $1 million. I'm sure first $3 million. First $3 million was around real estate, and you should talk to people about the fact that you are actually qualified in that area. So you're not like just jumping into this. This is something that you know well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've retired the name this January 2018. I retired my nickname, Mr. Real Estate. I literally put a jersey in the Raptors at a conference room and retired that name. I was Mr. Real Estate for over a decade because of my vast knowledge and experience in the real estate industry, from everything as a realtor for the top luxury real estate company in the world, as an expert brought on by NBC's Today Show to be a real estate expert, as a mortgage professional, branch manager of 2 mortgage companies, and as an investor and developer since the age of 25, and someone who currently still manages a personal, real estate portfolio of, millions of assets, right? So this is what we do, right? I can take you to properties that we actually own, right? Developments we actually have. So this is not a new thing. And I mentor tens of thousands of students who generate millions of dollars a year through our coaching, online trainings, workshops, et cetera. And that's a fact. So I'm qualified. And now I'm fund manager of this historic, reggae tier 2 crowd fund, which would be another one, a notch on my belts, right? To be this fund manager, which is like a cool title they give you. But from a transparency and reporting standpoint, everyone will have access to their account 24 hours a day. So you'll always be able to see what projects are current, where our current raise is, what's going on with your account. There'll be quarterly reports done of our books that will be submitted to everyone's account as well. You'll have access to our third-party administrator who will keep track of your shares, or if you want to make a beneficiary of your shares or want to privately sell, trade any shares, you'll have access to that. There'll be a quarterly conference call we'll do for shareholders as well. And then I believe once a year, we will do a shareholders meeting, in-person meeting once a year as well. So there'll be full communication, transparency, and a lot of resources to support everyone in their investment needs and concerns.
All right, I want to get you out of here. So I have a couple more questions. Well, first of all, let's go back to Aunt Janice's question around how does this affect your taxes?
Okay, on the tax side, there won't be any real estate pass through to the shareholders from a tax advantage standpoint that way. As we are generating profits and you're making more earned income, that will be more money that you're making. But I would consult an accountant. I'm not an accountant, although I know some personal tax strategies that can certainly help you with your taxes in regards to your personal real estate investments and cost segregation and tangible personal property. That's something else. But from this fund perspective, I don't have a particular tax strategy for us. How it affects your taxes is hopefully you'll be making more money, and therefore you pay a little more taxes or offset it with some losses somewhere else. But if the fund is profitable, which we hope and pray and we do our best due diligence for it to be, you'll be making some more money and have more money to report to the IRS.
Okay, so but you did say to speak with an accountant
Correct.
about all this. And you mentioned something that's really important, that there will be no pass-through liability, if you will, from the property
Yes.
to, right. So the property that the fund owns is not, we will not be we would not be personally liable for the taxes on that property.
Correct.
Okay, good.
And not,
So, but
and there won't be any as far as like tax deduction standpoint. Like when you own property yourself,
right,
company,
you can't
you
you can't claim it,
right,
basically,
right. You can't. Long story
to
short.
get that extra G on your taxes is not gonna happen.
Right, but there may be
Okay,
other tax strategies your accountant can advise you on, though. You know, anyone's accountant. So
great. So it sounds to me like we need to have another live or another conversation where we bring an accountant on who can help folks understand this
yeah,
from that
our
perspective.
treasurer, our in-house accountant, yeah, they certainly can even, you know, give that advice. I don't like to overstep my bounds. I'm the CEO, the founder, the fund manager. I will make.
Right.
I'll rely on them to be the best at what they do.
Great. So next good important question here. We're coming to a close, but this question is really important. What if this is Jock Hayes saying, what if the $50 million is not reached?
Oh, we still acquire assets and we still make it happen. It's not that there's any loss or any negative impact if for whatever reason we didn't reach that. We just keep raising capital until we do. It's still our fund.
Great. If I wired the money on the 1st tomorrow and it doesn't actually hit the account until the 3rd, 4th, 5th, am I still qualified for the
Founder.
beginners, the what is it, the honorary member?
Yep, honorary founder. Yep. Yeah, you would
Honorary
be.
founder.
If you made your investment, regardless of when it hit the books, if you made your investment on that day and that's the day that you went through your process, again, all first day investors will be honorary founders. And I think it'd be cool to look back in 30 years at the apartment building or at the whatever it is we acquire or a strip mall or, you know, whatever it is, and be able to see a plaque or a monument with our names on it saying we helped rebuild our community or a Black Wall Street type community, or we owned, we're part of this historic fund. The first one in our generation, our lifetime, that actually was a all Black owned fund that did things for Black people. First one we got.
Okay, we're almost done. Are there guidelines for the types of things? Because when you said strip mall, I thought, I hope we're not buying strip clubs, but maybe we should be. I don't know. So are there guidelines for the types of investments that we'll be making and what types of businesses can actually function within a building that we may own?
Right. No particular, I mean, I don't want to
We
be
out here to make money. This is about us making money, not
right.
about
Correct.
being, we're not trying to judge people on what they do with their businesses, but
Do they pay their lease?
yeah, okay. So people can lease, and we're not, there's no laundry list of judgmental, what do
Moral.
you call it, guidelines.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good question. Is there a board that is
Uh,
outside of the team?
there is not. No,
Okay.
I have my personal friends, advisors like Tamika and others that we come to. We worked on actually developing a board, and there will be. That'll be another phase. It was just too complicated trying to figure out a board in the fund not having launched. But I do have my personal internal board of advisors who I consult with for decision making.
All right. Let me get one more here. Question. Are you registered with the Securities and Exchange? Yes, SEC. SEC. Milton Oliver is asking whether or not we're registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We are. That's been mentioned a few times at the beginning. Milton, you probably were not on. That is one of the key ingredients to this process, that this is an actual legitimate business, and Jay was ensuring that we were registered with the SEC before announcing this project, just to make sure that we have that that level of accountability in place. And I wanted to ask this last question, Jay. I think this is the last
2.5 years in the making. It took us 2.5 years from inception of the concept to go through all the preparation for the SEC filing, the questions, the scrutiny, and to be qualified. And so it was a process, and we were very diligent in that process. And you know that because I've been talking about this for, over a year alone
Absolutely.
with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Make sure you are GDP compliant if you're introducing foreign investors. I'm sure that's something that you all are working on. And then there was a question here that I have lost, that I want to just make sure we ask before we go. It was someone asking a question about out. Are you outsourcing the compliance program to ensure you are compliant with the SEC?
I think he's talking about, yeah. So to be compliant, yeah, we're doing everything we have to do to be compliant with the SEC. That's just the easy answer. Like, we're not going to be in compliant with the SEC. That would mean fines or harsh penalties and a stain on our organization. But we do have third-party administrators, meaning outside administrators and outside auditors that have no affiliation to our firm, that do our books and auditing to report to the SEC, which is what I think believe he's saying. So it's not an internal audit, meaning like we're not getting our homeboy to look at our books and say, okay, everything's good. It's actually an external audit of a third-party company that checks
Right.
books and our compliance. So yes.
You're not like the police department. You do your own investigation
Right,
of
right.
yourself and find that you did nothing wrong. Right. So, okay, I'm thinking, Jay, that
You guys can
someone
call us tonight too. So from 8 p.m., which is now, to 12 a.m. midnight when we launch the IPO, you guys can call my team. The conference number's on my Instagram. I don't know it offhand, but Mr. J Morrison Instagram, you see the conference number. But you call all night, 4-hour marathon leading to the IPO question and answer session. But I encourage you to go to the website and look at our animated video, 2 minutes long, answer a lot of questions, and our FAQ. So do your own due diligence. Just don't trust me. I'm Tamika's brother, and
No, but you can. You can. I want my friends and family to know that, I would not be vouching for this project nor this young man if I did not believe that he's an upstanding individual. I look at Jay as being a mentor, and we've been trying to figure out this sort of, what is it, like a puzzle, in terms of our community being a lot of broken pieces, but valuable pieces, that if we can actually put them on the board in their proper place, we can lift ourselves and lift our people. And I think that our economic stability, is a major component of it. So Jay, I'm proud of you. Let me say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because there were a lot of people who told you you couldn't, that there was no way that this could actually happen. When we hear the number 50 million, we automatically get nervous that's too much. But if we know we're spending $1.3 trillion, 50 million is not a lot at all. That is something that is actually possible for us. And I hope that folks who have dialed in, we've had our numbers going up, increasing as we've been on this live tonight. You can tell that people have been sharing it, and folks have been jumping in, asking a lot of very, very, very important questions. I hope that means that there's some interest here. And I appeal to all of you friends and family that we have to try. Let's try something different. We've been doing the same thing over and over again, and some of us are doing well, but this is about making sure that our communities are made whole. And $500 is not a lot of money. It is not a lot of money. Yes, it seems like a lot when you think of it in terms of what you might have in your bank account today, but $500 actually is an investment that really can give us the type of leverage we need to address some of the social ills and concerns in our community. And we don't have time tonight to talk about how we want to start taking some of that profit, and instead of putting it in our pockets, looking at how we could take some of the profits and invest back in other things in our communities, in terms of hiring our people and coming up with programs and things that that we need. And that's something that we can get into later on. I'll be asking you, Jay, how do we open up these programs? If we get folks, instead of taking the profit and going immediately to purchase our new car, are,
Right.
can we take our profits and reinvest in other things that we need to do that may be outside of real estate for our community? Someone here is asking, is $500 the minimum investment?
Yes, it's a minimum investment.
It's the minimum investment. Yes, and we
Yeah.
have it. We've got $500, but listen, put it together. Get $100 from 5 people in your home. Get $100 from a few people around you. Put it together and then figure out how you can, continue to build on that until each one of you that put 500 in the pot make it to your own 500. Invest in this model. Let's try to do something different for our communities. Erica Ford says, if you believe that you can free yourself and believe that you can actually pull wealth together in our communities in our lifetime, that we can actually do it. Just believing in it. And someone asked, can they borrow, Erica, $500 from me? I can only invest my own 500. If I have 500 more, I'm going to be investing $1,000. So I will not be able to lend it to you. I do think there is something to be said about doing what you need to do to come up with this money. And I know Eric is going to invest her 500, but come up with this money so you can feel that pride that you sacrificed. And again, it's a lot. So if you only got a few dollars in the bank right now, yes, it is a lot. But if you think about the long-term investment, it is not. And if you can put this money together to be able to invest in this project, I think that the pride, the sense of pride that goes along with it is also another piece of how this will spill over into other areas of how we address issues in our community as a collective. This is us practicing collective love, responsibility, and a collective strategy for our healing.
Mhm.
So exactly. I don't care if it's my last dollar. We're investing in this. We're investing in you, Jay. We believe, even though, yes, I know you're saying this is not about you. It is, because we believe that you have the keys to empowering our communities. And so we're going to put this in your hand and ask you to, continue to sacrifice. And I want all the prayer warriors
Please.
on this live to pray for our brother and the team, to pray for them to make the right decisions and to be able to deal with the enemy when the enemy wakes up and understands what it is that we're doing. They cut my live off tonight, but that's a small part of what we know will happen when they begin to see us coming together for our own economic stability. $500, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, tulsarealestatefund.com. Run to the website tonight to read up on it and make sure that you invest. Jay, as you give us some closing words, I want you to just tell us whether or not it is going to be a difficult process to fill out the form. Is it easy? Can you do it on your smartphone? Do you need to be on a computer? How
Good
does
question.
that work? And then take us out with some encouraging words.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate the prayer request. That's something I do ask for, is if you can't invest, and even if you can invest, please pray for us and protection over us as individuals and this fund, because it does mean that much to our community. And I understand the risk of being in this space. So you said, tell you about, what was the last part? I'm sorry, I need to say that.
How's the form? Is it a difficult form?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the form online, all you're going to do right
Can
now
you
is
do it on your cell phone?
yes, cell phone friendly. Only got to answer a few questions. If you're going to do the ACH, which there's no fee or no $10 extra fee for the ACH, there is the $25.50 processing fee for all investments, no matter what size. But when you do it, have your routing and account number ready if you want to do it that way, or checking if you want, or wire if you want to do it that way. But very, very simple, very easy, user friendly. Just follow the steps. We're going live at midnight. I'm gonna give you all a little hint. I'm going live a little earlier than midnight, but I'm telling everybody midnight. But we going live around like 10. But
we heard it here. This is the Tamika Mallory Facebook exclusive.
Exclusive. But nobody even know. We're really going live at 10 because I don't want the site to crash at 12 and thousands of people go to the site at 12 o'clock and we got them problems. So we're gonna drop little seeds throughout the night, and but we do have the IPO. Everyone will be owners, and I understand that the responsibility is on me, right? The fund is not about me, but the responsibility is on me, and I do take acceptance of that burden and that pleasure and that duty to serve our community where I can. I appreciate you, sis, just for being who you are, being the queen that you are. I already told you that you were Mama Michelle Obama. You know what I'm saying? Told you that early.
I
That's
love you, man.
how I always seen you, and just thank you for riding with me on this journey. Like even when I first told it to you, you ain't even get it. Like Jay, all right, cool, I'm with it. I don't even understand the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I just appreciate you always, whenever I bring it up, whenever I mention it, you always have told people about it even prior to its inception, prior to qualification, and now here we are, literally having an IPO opportunity where we can look in the coming weeks and say we've raised X amount for our community, and now if we want to build a community center or a school or pump dollars into whatever it is that we want to do to support our advancement, we can show our NFL players what it looks like to pull your money together and have control and power.
Right. That's
Right.
right. That's right.
This
That's
this
right.
is this is an example piece. This is the guinea pig, the beta test, not just for fun, but to show us what our collective group economics can do. Right. So that's the responsibility really for me, is to show everybody like, yo, we tried it, we did it, look what we got now. And hopefully that will inspire us for generations to say, oh snap, we've been bugging. We paid all this money for Christmas gifts so our kids could feel good for one day. And we could have put that money into something that actually could have been a legacy piece for our kids so they could ride by every day. I think about my mom, I'm the oldest of four, and it was six of us that grew up in a two-bedroom apartment. And I think about this ugly green station wagon my mom had. And we used to ride in the back of it facing the opposite direction. I hated it. But I remember riding by, we had nothing to say our family owned. We owned nothing. Like nothing. And I always think about this fun. What would that have been like for my mom, the same way she scraped up for Nintendos and Segas and all that kind of stuff, if she scraped up to invest into a fund like this? And even though we were poor, welfare, all of that, free lunch in schools, but every day we could have rolled by a building and said, well, we own some of that.
Right.
And just growing up, knowing that I owned a little share of something, as opposed to never owning nothing. And that's why I want to make the minimum $500. That's like the lowest in the industry. You can look at any real estate crowd fund, you won't see anything that matches that. I want to do that so we give everyone an opportunity to see what it feels like when you own something. When, for many of us that don't have that ownership opportunity, or living in Manhattan and things skyrocketing, and you want to own some diverse real estate somewhere else. So I'll leave with that. Love y'all. Love you, sis. Appreciate y'all early confidence in me. I'm excited to see where this goes.
So excited.
Literally history.
History, Doc. Like, you really honestly are making history right now. And again, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I feel like since you and Ernestine Johnson, my sister who's about to become Ernestine Morrison, have been together, I've seen even more of a fire in you. That partnership, having the right partner who gets you and gets your vision, and to see how invested she has been in your crazy ideas that are ultimately going to be historic for our communities. It's a real proud moment for me. I feel like, we've been together when, when this was, like you said, just a thought, and to see it come to fruition right now, I'm real proud of you, man. I mean, I really am. And I'm expecting great things to happen. This is for us. It's about us. And when I make my payment tonight to this fund, it's probably going to be one of the proudest moments I've ever had in terms of spending my money on something that I truly, truly believe in. I'm actually getting teary-eyed here talking about it. I'm making this payment for us because I know that this is a part of a missing piece for our people. And so I love you for loving us. I love you for loving me, for loving my son, for loving our community so much that you, against all of our negativity and the ignorance of the things that we say, you stood up and you continued to push forward on this. And I know that we're about to do something that's going to shake the ground of this country and of the world. So let's get it. And everybody that's on here, $500, $500 is all you have to have, or a few dollars, and your friend need a few dollars, so y'all can get together and make this investment beginning at 10 p.m. tonight by going to Tulsa Real Estate Fund. That's TulsaRealEstateFund.com. Make your investment, be a part of history, be a part of something just a little bit different. And again, brothers and sisters, when you feel that feeling like, you know, I don't know if I should do this. How can we, can I trust him? I'm imploring you today. Let's just try. Let's try. Let's try something new, something different. So much love to you, Jay. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love y'all.
Let's do it.
All right, IPO tonight. We lit.
All right.
All right,
yep.
peace.
Peace. Thanks.